What if the man who raised you, the man you trusted most, stole the only person you loved? What if the betrayal wasn't just personal, but written in the very blood that connects you? This is a story where the past bleeds into the present, and no one escapes unscathed. I always believed I could be different from him, my father. But when I found out he was having a child with my girlfriend, everything shattered. That moment was a reckoning I never saw coming. This is the story of how love, loyalty, and family were twisted into something unrecognizable, how a son faced the very darkness he thought he left behind, and realized he might be the same man after all. Marcus was a man caught between two worlds, the desire to break free from his father's shadow, and the unspoken resentment that lingered beneath their every interaction. His girlfriend, Maya, was his anchor, the one bright spot in a life marked by tension. His father, Elijah, was a towering figure, charismatic but flawed. Years of silence and half-truths built a fragile barrier between them. Marcus thought he understood his father's mistakes, vowed never to repeat them. But the quiet storm was gathering. Maya seemed distant, distracted. Small secrets whispered between her and Elijah in moments Marcus wasn't meant to see. The air thickened with tension Marcus couldn't yet name. Marcus's circle watched closely, friends, family, those who sensed the cracks widening. None dared speak openly. The weight of unspoken truths pressed on Marcus's chest like a relentless tide. Elijah had a past marked by recklessness and broken promises, yet Marcus saw in him a strange blend of regret and defiance. There was history neither dared voice, deep wounds left to fester beneath forced smiles. One evening, Marcus found a message on Maya's phone, a hint of a secret conversation with Elijah. His heart raced. Doubt blossomed into suspicion, and suspicion soon spiraled into a silent storm of anger and confusion. The walls around Marcus's carefully built life began to crumble. In the shadows of his own home, betrayal stirred. He was no longer just a son or a boyfriend, he was a man standing at the edge of a terrifying revelation. Marcus confronted Maya. Her eyes avoided his, her voice cracked under the weight of a secret she could no longer hold. The truth spilled out like shards of glass. Elijah and Maya were expecting a child. Shock froze Marcus. The room seemed to shrink, the air thick with disbelief. The man he wanted to be nothing like had become the very embodiment of the pain he feared. Elijah, when faced, showed no shame, only a quiet defiance. He claimed the child was a chance at redemption, a way to rewrite a broken legacy. But to Marcus, it was a dagger twisting deeper. Maya's silence cut deeper than words. Her guilt was a heavy cloak, but so was her love for Marcus, tangled and confused. The lines between right and wrong blurred beyond recognition. Family dinners turned to battlegrounds. The past, soaked in resentment, clashed with a future neither wanted to face. Marcus's mother watched helplessly, caught between two men she once loved. Marcus's resentment morphed into something darker, a mirror of the anger Elijah had once shown him. He wrestled with his own reflection, realizing the cycle was tighter than he feared. The revelation unleashed memories Marcus buried, his father's own betrayals, the years of silence, the heavy absence of trust. The baby wasn't just a child, it was a symbol of everything broken. A late-night confrontation exploded. Words hurled like weapons. Marcus accused Elijah of ruining everything. Elijah retorted with a harsh truth. He never wanted to be the man Marcus saw him as. Maya's pleas for forgiveness met cold walls. Marcus felt lost, betrayed not just by a lover, but by blood, by the man who shaped his very identity. Every moment was charged with raw pain. Behind closed doors, Marcus's father confessed regrets shaped by his own upbringing, poverty, broken promises, and a desperate need to be seen. The baby was, in Elijah's mind, a chance to fix what was never whole. Marcus's anger collided with his understanding. The man he hated was also a victim of his own history, yet the damage was undeniable. The past was not just a story, it was living, breathing pain. Maya, torn between loyalty and love, struggled to find her place in this fractured family. Her unborn child was a reminder of what was lost and what could never be undone. The community whispered. Neighbors and friends cast judgment, feeding the fire of humiliation and shame. Marcus and Elijah became locked in a silent war, each fighting for something no one could truly win. In quiet moments, Marcus reflected on his own flaws, the bitterness growing inside him, the shadows creeping close. He wondered if he was doomed to repeat the sins of his father, or if he could find a new way. Then came the twist. A secret from Elijah's past emerged, an untold betrayal that redefined everything Marcus thought he knew. The lines of victim and perpetrator blurred, forcing a painful reevaluation of blame. Marcus struggled to process Elijah's secret, a long-buried scandal that revealed his father's own heartbreak and cycles of pain. Suddenly, Elijah's flaws were not just sins but scars passed down through generations. The baby's due date loomed like a ticking clock, forcing Marcus and Elijah to face the consequences of their fractured bond. Neither could avoid the reckoning waiting to break them wide open. Maya's health became fragile under the weight of guilt and fear. She needed peace, but the storm surrounding her only grew fiercer, pulling everyone into its unforgiving eye. One night, Marcus sat alone, haunted by memories of a childhood marred by silence and anger. He wondered if love could ever grow in a place so poisoned by betrayal. Elijah reached out to Marcus with a tentative hand, a desperate attempt to mend what was broken. Marcus recoiled, unsure if forgiveness was even a possibility or just a cruel illusion. They met in the old family kitchen, the room heavy with unsaid words. Elijah's voice cracked as he confessed his deepest regret, not for the baby, but for breaking his son's heart in ways he never intended. Marcus's anger fought with his need for connection. The man he hated was still his father, and in that truth lay both curse and hope, a chance to rewrite their story or shatter it forever. Maya, caught between two men bound by blood and betrayal, made a choice to fight for her own future, no longer a pawn, but a woman reclaiming her voice and strength. The community's whispers grew louder, threatening to swallow them whole. But in that pressure, Marcus found a new resolve, to break the cycle and redefine what family could mean. Elijah's vulnerability surprised Marcus. The man who once seemed untouchable now showed cracks, exposing a father desperate to heal old wounds, even if it meant losing everything. A late-night phone call shattered the fragile peace. Elijah's health was failing. The irony of mortality forced Marcus to confront his own bitterness and the fleeting nature of life. Marcus visited Elijah in the hospital, the sterile walls echoing years of silence. Words came slow, but the weight lifted in shared pain and unspoken understanding. Maya's baby was born, a fragile symbol of hope and pain intertwined. Marcus stood beside her, feeling the strange mixture of love, loss, and reluctant acceptance. The baby's cries filled the room, breaking through years of resentment. Marcus's heart softened, recognizing that new life could bring a chance at healing if he dared to try. Elijah's last days were marked by quiet moments, small gestures that spoke louder than apologies. Marcus listened, really listened, to the man he thought he knew. In his father's final breath, Marcus saw a man worn by regret but hopeful for redemption. It was a painful farewell, but one that opened the door to forgiveness. Maya and Marcus faced the future together, their relationship forever changed but rooted in newfound honesty and courage to move forward, despite scars that would never fully fade. Marcus realized he had become his father in ways he feared, but he could choose what legacy to leave his own child, a legacy of truth, strength, and resilience. The past was a shadow that would always linger, but Marcus learned to carry it without letting it define him. The cycle could be broken, but only through facing the darkest truths. He sat alone, reflecting on the tangled threads of love, pain, and family. The choices they made echoed through time, shaping who they were and who they might yet become. The story wasn't just about betrayal or pain. It was about survival, transformation, and the complicated, often painful ties that bind us to those we love. Marcus knew forgiveness was not forgetting, but a hard, ongoing process, one that demanded courage, empathy, and a willingness to be vulnerable. As Maya held their child, Marcus vowed to build something new, something stronger, rooted not in secrets but in honesty and acceptance. The legacy of their family was no longer just a chain of mistakes but a story of resilience and hope, carved out of heartbreak and hard truths. In the end, the reckoning came not as a punishment, but as a chance to choose differently, to break free from the past and create a future where love and truth could coexist.